Okay, let's unpack this. Have you ever found yourself wondering, why people sometimes just stand by when someone clearly needs help?
Mm. Or how a simple uniform can suddenly make someone obey a command that seems completely absurd.
Exactly. It's a bit unsettling, isn't it? We all like to think we're, well, always in conscious control, making rational choices.
Right. But the reality, as we're going to explore, is often, well, far more complex and often much less conscious than we think.
So today, we're doing a deep dive into this fascinating collection of insights about obedience, authority, and all those unseen forces shaping our decisions. We're drawing quite a bit from sources like Hughes.
Great resource.
Yeah. And our mission really is to uncover these hidden mechanisms driving compliance, hopefully helping you navigate this tricky social landscape.
Both as someone maybe following orders and also as someone who wants to lead, but, positively. And what's truly fascinating here, I think, is just how deep-seated these behaviors are. We're not just looking at what the tendencies are, but really digging into why they exist, tracing them back to our evolution,
Okay.
and then crucially looking at how we can consciously engage with them, move beyond just reacting.
Towards more thoughtful action. I like that. So we'll journey from like ancient tribal instincts that still pop up
Yeah, they really do.
to some incredible, maybe even slightly disturbing psychological experiments that reveal our social programming.
Oh, definitely some eye-openers there.
And, maybe most powerfully, figure out how to develop genuine personal authority, the kind that serves everyone. Our ancient blueprint for obedience. Okay, so let's start by looking way back. The core idea here is that humans are literally hardwired for obedience.
Right, fundamentally.
Our brains, in their basic structure and function, they haven't really changed significantly in something like 180,000 years.
That's a huge stretch of time, and it means those pathways are deeply, deeply ingrained.
So this tribal past, it left a pretty profound imprint on our psychology, didn't it?
Absolutely. Our ancestors lived in these small groups, right? And in that environment, following the leader's rules wasn't, optional.
It was survival.
Totally. Basic needs.
True.
Safety, finding food, even procreation. If you disobeyed, well, it could mean death.
Or being kicked out, which was basically the same thing back then.
Exactly. Social ostracization was a death sentence. So this evolutionary pressure created this powerful survival mechanism, an unconscious authority radar, you could call it.
A radar, I like that.
Yeah, and it's still operating today, deep down.
Which makes that quote from Stanley Milgram.
Yeah.
Control the manner in which a man interprets his world, and you have gone a long way toward controlling his behavior.
Powerful. It just sets the stage for how pervasive this influence can be, often way beneath our conscious radar.
Okay, now this is where, for me, it gets really interesting. This idea of social resonance. Let's try a metaphor. Imagine you walk into a huge piano store.
Right.
Okay.
Lots of pianos.
You hit a middle C key on just one piano. What happens?
Ah, I see where you're going. All the other C strings in the room, they start to vibrate too, subtly.
Exactly. That's social resonance. And humans apparently operate in a similar way.
We do. Our bodies, our minds, we resonate with what's around us. Our social behaviors are incredibly sensitive to nonverbal signals from others. Well, speech patterns, mannerisms, posture, the tone of voice, vocabulary, even your underlying mood.
Wow.
It all broadcasts information, often completely outside our conscious awareness. There's this concept, sometimes called social coherence.
Okay.
It suggests our unconscious mind has this direct, honest line to other people's unconscious minds. It can't really lie.
It's like our inner state creates this energy field that others pick up on.
Kind of, yeah. An energetic field environment, as the HeartMath Institute might put it.
So if you walk into a room feeling, say, fear or uncertainty,
Yeah.
you're actually causing those strings to vibrate in others.
Pretty much. And conversely, if you're confident, you'll likely cause confidence to resonate.
Okay, that explains that feeling you sometimes get. Like, something's off here.
Exactly. It's often your unconscious mind picking up signals that clash with what you're consciously seeing or hearing. A mismatch.
Right, and this ties back to that authority radar we mentioned.
It does. From childhood, we develop this radar, constantly scanning for signals. Who should we follow? Especially when things feel uncertain or like a crisis.
And these signals often include things like status symbols, uniforms.
Yep. Our unconscious registers those as shortcuts, indicators of competence or legitimate power or someone who knows what to do.
Which brings us neatly to some truly compelling social psychology experiments. These really illustrate these unconscious drives.
Some classics here.
Yeah, like the smoke-filled room experiment. From 68, right?
Latane and Darley, yep.
So Columbia students are filling out forms in a waiting room. If they're alone, pretty much every student reports the smoke that starts seeping in. Makes sense.
Standard reaction to potential danger.
But when the students were in the room with 3 actors who were pretending not to be concerned, just casually waving the smoke away.
What happened then?
Only 10%. Only 10% reported the smoke or left. 90% stayed put.
Wow. Stayed there with the smoke filling the room.
Yep. Casually waving it away, just like the actors.
That's striking. It's not just that we conform, but how powerfully group inaction can override our own perception of danger.
Right.
Our authority radar is scanning, looking for someone to make a decision. And when nobody acts, it's like this silent agreement forms.
We're all agreeing not to intervene.
Exactly. It diffuses personal responsibility, which highlights this sort of authority loophole, how even ambiguous authority or the lack of clear leadership can just profoundly shape what we do or don't do.
It's incredible, that drive to conform. And then there's the Asch conformity experiment, 1956.
Another foundational study, the line matching task.
Yeah. Students shown a line, then have to match it to one of 3 others. Simple visual task. Except 9 out of 10 people in the room are actors, deliberately picking the wrong line.
Right. So the real participant is faced with a unanimous but clearly incorrect majority.
And the results? About a third, 32%, went along with the obviously wrong answers most of the time.
And 3/4, 75%, conformed at least once.
Why? Why would they do that?
Well, 2 main reasons came out. Either they just wanted to fit in, avoid sticking out, that's normative influence.
Okay.
Or they genuinely started to doubt their own eyes and thought the group must be right, that's informational influence.
Trusting the group more than yourself.
Exactly. And what's surprising, maybe, is how readily we do that. Even today, in our supposedly freely questioning culture.
You think it's still relevant?
Oh, absolutely. Think about social media echo chambers. This desire to conform, even to groups that pride themselves on nonconformity, it's still very much alive. We doubt ourselves when faced with that apparent consensus.
And sometimes this conformity, this inaction, it has really tragic consequences.
Yeah.
Which brings us to the bystander effect.
Oh, yes. The Kitty Genovese case is the one everyone remembers.
1964. Horrific story. Reports said 38 people witnessed her attack. But nobody called the police until it was far too late.
It's a stark illustration of diffusion of responsibility. The more people who are present,
the less responsible any single person feels.
Precisely. Each person thinks someone else will act, or perhaps already has. There was that London experiment, too, more recently, 2009.
Right, the one with the different clothes.
Yeah. A man collapses. If he's wearing a business suit, someone helps within about 6 seconds.
Wow, fast.
But the same man wearing just ordinary street clothes, he was ignored, sometimes by up to 100 people walking past.
That's depressing.
It is. But it shows how status symbols like the suit can almost provide a permission structure for others to act. It signals this person matters or this situation is legitimate.
So the key takeaway there is often it just takes one person.
Exactly, one person to break the norm. One act of leadership, even from a stranger in a suit, gives everyone else permission to stop conforming and start helping.
Okay, let's shift slightly to perceived authority, specifically uniforms. Dr. Philip Zimbardo, obviously famous for the Stanford prison experiment.
Infamous, maybe.
Infamous, yeah. His work really highlights how profoundly uniforms affect us. We all know the Stanford prison experiment, 1971. Students randomly assigned roles.
Guards and prisoners.
And it went off the rails so fast, guards became abusive, prisoners traumatized.
Yeah.
They had to shut it down after only 6 days.
A powerful and controversial demonstration of situational power.
But Zimbardo didn't stop there, did he? He did other uniform experiments later on, like in 2011.
That's right. Less known, but equally revealing.
Tell us about the one with the fake train conductor uniform.
Okay, so a man dressed in this nondescript uniform, kind of like a train conductor's, went into a public place.
Right.
And he started asking people to do slightly ridiculous things, like walk around an apple on the ground, or even litter.
And people did it.
Roughly 90% complied, even when asked to do something technically illegal, like littering, just because of the uniform.
90%. That's incredible. And there was another one with a taser.
Yeah, the taser experiment, same setup, man in uniform. He asks a regular citizen to watch over a prisoner who's actually an actor, gives the citizen a taser, just a prop, obviously.
Okay.
Then the prisoner tries to escape. And often, the citizen watching actually used the taser prop to subdue the escaping actor.
Oh, wow. Just following orders from the guy in the uniform.
Exactly. These experiments just hammer home how quickly a uniform or even just the perception of status can trigger what's called an agentic shift.
Agentic shift, what's that exactly?
It's a state where individuals basically stop feeling fully responsible for their own actions.
Because they see themselves as just an agent.
Precisely. An agent carrying out the wishes of a higher authority. Our built-in reverence for authority, that fear of consequences we learned from childhood, it runs like this background program we can't easily turn off.
So denying its power just makes us more vulnerable.
Absolutely. It weakens our ability to recognize and resist false or harmful authority. The surprising thing is how little it actually takes just a uniform, sometimes, to trigger this profound shift in moral responsibility.
It really is sobering. So just to clarify, we're talking about different kinds of authority here.
Right. You've got social authority, things like cultural norms, traditions, respect for elders. Then forceful authority, which has clear consequences, laws, government rules, parents making rules.
Got it.
And then there's perceived authority. This is the one that's often unconscious. We assign it to charismatic people, leaders, celebrities, doctors, or just based on status symbols like clothes or appearance.
And it's this type, the perceived authority, and our kind of blindness to it.
That's unfortunately behind so many historical tragedies, yes.
Which I guess brings us to that Banksy quote.
Oh yeah, the Banksy quote is perfect here. The greatest crimes in the world are not committed by people breaking the rules.
But by people following the rules.
Exactly. It's a stark reminder that these obedience mechanisms, while often useful, can absolutely be exploited, often with devastating results.
So we use these mental scripts all the time.
Yeah.
Right? To navigate daily life, driving, being in a classroom.
Saves mental energy. Shortcuts.
But they can also be dangerous.
Yeah.
You mentioned the Woolworths fire earlier, 1979.
A tragic example. 10 people died because they were waiting in line to pay bills instead of evacuating during a fire.
They were stuck in the social crowd script of queuing.
Exactly. Adhering to the script even when faced with imminent danger. So our brains are constantly scanning, looking for authority, for leadership signals, especially in ambiguous situations.
So how does the brain actually do that? How does it identify and pick someone out as the leader?
Well, research suggests it's an incredibly fast, unconscious process. It happens in less than a second, often running through 5 distinct steps or tripwires.
Tripwires, okay, what are they?
First is movement. We look for deliberate, purposeful actions. Someone who moves without hesitation, especially someone who breaks from the norm and takes decisive action.
Okay, purposeful movement. Number 2.
Appearance. This covers everything: hygiene, dress, physical look, even how someone walks, their gait.
Right. Number 3.
Confidence. This shows up in movement and speech. It adds a huge amount to perceived credibility.
Confidence. Number 4.
Connection or attention. The ability to give someone undivided attention during a conversation. It demonstrates focus and presence.
Makes sense. And the last one.
Number 5 is the internal feeling. It's about congruence. When all the signals someone sends their words, body language, confidence seem to match up.
It feels right.
Yeah, it creates this internal feeling of rightness or comfort in the observer. But when the signals conflict, that triggers the something's off here alarm.
And this feeling is the final step
Before we might shift into that agentic state, ready to follow their lead.
Okay, let's make this concrete. The New York subway scenario you mentioned.
Right. Imagine you're on a crowded platform. A man suddenly clutches his chest, screams in pain.
Chaos. Panic.
Often, no.
Yeah.
The crowd might just form this unspoken agreement to ignore him. Diffusion of responsibility again.
Okay. Then what happens?
Then another man, maybe wearing a nice suit and tie, purposefully breaks away from the flow of commuters.
Yeah.
He moves directly towards the screaming man. No hesitation, no looking around for social cues, just unwavering focus.
He hits those tripwires. Movement, appearance, confidence, attention.
Exactly. And in that instant, your likelihood of also stepping forward to help, or at least follow his lead, jumps dramatically, maybe by as much as 80%.
Wow, just like that.
Your brain unconsciously scanned those 5 authority filters in probably less than 10 seconds.
And we all like to think, oh, I'd be the one to help.
Of course, but statistically, there's almost a guarantee most of us would initially conform to the crowd's inaction.
So the real takeaway here, awareness.
Absolutely. Awareness of this weakness is so much better than just ignoring its power. That's what Dr. Zimbardo's Heroic Imagination Project is all about.
Right, encouraging heroic action.
Exactly. Intentional action to help others, even knowing there might be personal costs. It means consciously overriding those ingrained scripts and conformity pressures.
Okay, so we've spent a lot of time talking about how easily we can be swayed, how we follow authority figures. Understanding the mechanisms?
But what does this all mean for you, the listener, if you want to be a better leader? Or maybe just maximize your positive impact on the people around you?
Great question. It's not just about spotting manipulation or resisting bad authority. It's also about how to actively build authentic, positive authority yourself.
Right. So how do we do that?
Well, it really starts with understanding what we might call unconscious coherence in our own communication. Remember the social resonance?
Yeah, the piano strings.
Your unconscious mind is constantly broadcasting signals, hundreds every few seconds. It's always on. So how I genuinely feel about myself, that's being broadcast.
Directly to other people's unconscious minds. It shapes how they perceive you, how they respond to you, whether they see you as credible or trustworthy. It's about aligning your internal state with your external signals.
Okay. And the source material mentioned 5 specific authority behavior traits that tend to create followership.
Yes. Confidence, discipline, leadership, gratitude, and enjoyment. These tend to resonate positively.
Let's maybe do a quick deep dive just on confidence, because that seems like such a core element and one of the tripwires itself.
Definitely. Confidence is huge. At its core, it's about having a certainty of self, believing in your own worth.
And maybe having a general expectation that things will work out okay.
Exactly. A positive outlook. And importantly, it's not about being arrogant or putting others down. Real confidence often aligns with that idea of we rise by lifting others.
So what does low self-confidence look like then? The opposite signals.
Trouble saying no, maybe being very indecisive, needing constant reassurance, over-apologizing.
Fear of failure. Worrying about what others think.
All of those. Sensitivity to criticism, maybe even putting others down to feel better, that can be a sign too.
And how does genuine confidence trigger those 5 authority tripwires we talked about?
Well, think about it. Confidence shows in movement. It leads to more reserved, purposeful actions. It impacts appearance, how you carry yourself. It is confidence, the third tripwire. It allows for focused connection and attention because you're not preoccupied with your own insecurities.
And it creates that internal feeling of comfort in others.
Exactly. It creates congruence. It signals competence and puts people at ease, making them more likely to trust and follow. And here's the really good news.
What's that?
Confidence isn't some fixed personality trait you're born with or without. It's a skill.
A skill you can develop.
Absolutely. Through repetition, practice, and controlling your focus. Consistency is the key, not aiming for perfection. It's about forming new mental habits and reinforcing positive self-beliefs.
Okay, so let's get practical. How can people listening actually build this kind of authority-triggering confidence? How do we shape that internal broadcast?
Right. It starts with mindful, consistent practice. Little things add up.
Like what? Give us some examples.
Okay, first, try role application. This is quite powerful. When you enter any social situation, consciously assign yourself a specific positive role.
What kind of role?
Could be simple. My job here is to make the other person feel interesting. Or, my role is to be the calmest person in the room. Or, I will make this person feel powerful.
So it's not about being fake.
Not at all. It's about shifting your internal state by giving yourself a clear, positive mission. Remember the example of browsing in a luxury store?
Feeling uncomfortable.
Right. But if you were suddenly given an unlimited company credit card with a specific task, buy the best watch for the CEO, that discomfort vanishes instantly. Why?
Because you have a defined role, a purpose.
Exactly. That deliberate mental shift helps align your internal feelings with your external actions. It changes how you carry yourself.
Okay, role application. What else?
Next, really internalize the idea that the way you do one thing is the way you do everything. Or bait. Behavior anchors temperament everywhere.
Bait. Catchy. What does it mean in practice?
It means building discipline in one small area has ripple effects. Prioritize your fitness, eat well, exercise. That builds self-discipline.
Okay.
Maybe consciously shift your voice tone to sound more confident. Use a simple to-do list app and actually check things off.
Why the to-do list?
Because every checkmark gives your brain tangible proof of accomplishment. It builds your internal self-reputation for competence. These small wins aren't isolated. They reshape your whole internal broadcast system, which others do pick up on unconsciously.
Small wins building bigger confidence. Got it. Anything else?
Yeah, embrace the escalatory pyramid of discomfort. Real confidence isn't built in your comfort zone.
You have to push the boundaries.
Gradually, yes. Start small. Say hello to a stranger. Make eye contact for a second longer than usual. Offer a genuine compliment. Start a brief conversation with a barista.
Low-stakes stuff.
Right. Then, as you get comfortable, layer on slightly bigger challenges. Ask someone for simple advice. Take charge in a very low-stakes group decision, like where to get coffee. Maybe even practice holding comfortable silence in a conversation for a few seconds longer.
So these aren't just social tricks.
No, they're exercises. They build the internal strength, the resilience that then naturally manifests as those authority tripwires, the purposeful movement, the confidence, the focused connection in real-time situations.
So it's about building it from the inside out.
Precisely. So the confidence isn't just an act, it's integrated. It's perceived as genuine. And one final point on this. Always remember the Dunning-Kruger effect.
Ah, yes.
Yeah.
Where a little knowledge makes us overestimate our competence.
Exactly. Don't fall into that trap of thinking you know it all after reading one article or listening to one deep dive. Stay curious. Stay open to growth. True authority comes from genuine, evolving competence and self-awareness, not just a surface-level understanding.
Wow. Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground. We've journeyed from our ancient roots of obedience all the way to understanding these subtle signals shaping our social interactions.
Yeah.
We've looked at some really fascinating, sometimes unsettling experiments.
It's definitely revealing about our hardwired tendencies.
And, importantly, we've uncovered some really actionable ways to consciously build genuine confidence and that positive kind of authority. It feels like a powerful toolkit.
It really is. I think this deep dive ultimately shows us that, yes, while we are hardwired for obedience and group influence, we're absolutely not powerless.
Right.
The real power is in awareness, understanding these mechanisms, spotting those 5 authority tripwires in others and in ourselves.
And making intentional choices.
Exactly. Intentional choices about when to follow, who to follow, and how we want to lead or influence others. It really is about developing authority as a skill, not just hoping it's some inborn trait.
So, a final thought for everyone listening. Now that you have a better understanding of your own authority radar and how easily it can be tripped, for better or for worse, what's one small intentional action you can take this week? Maybe to consciously resist an unhelpful script you find yourself following. Or perhaps to intentionally trip your own positive authority wires in a way that benefits those around you.
Just one small thing.
Think about it. Find that one thing and maybe take that step.